Servus, wie geht's euch? Ich hoffe, es geht euch gut. Ich bin der Ern und ich bin hier heute Abend, um ein Lied mitzuteilen. Und das Lied heißt Gras von Gerhard Gundermann. Gundi ist mein Lieblingsmusiker aus Deutschland, wenigstens von dem 20. Jahrhundert. Und dieses Lied kommt aus seinem Album Einsame Spitze von 1992. I'm Aaron, and tonight I've got this song for you called Gras from my favorite German songwriter from the 20th century. His name's Gerhard Gundermann or Gundi, and this comes from his album from 1992 called Einsame Spitze. Heute Abend werde ich dieses Lied singen und ich hoffe, dass ihr mitsingen könnt. Ich habe eigentlich den grammatischen Fällen im Text Farben zugewiesen, damit wir leichter lernen können. Und ich habe auch die Verben unterstrichen, damit wir die leichter sehen können. So I've underlined the verbs so that we can see them better, and I've highlighted in various colors the nominative, accusative, and dative cases, which are grammatical cases, so that we can discuss that or see that more easily. Jetzt geht's los. Entschuldigung, mein Deutsch ist schlechter geworden in den letzten Jahren. My German's a bit rusty, but let's get on with it. Als wir endlich groß genug waren, nahmen wir unsere Schuhe. Die bemalte Kinderzimmertür fiel hinter uns zu. Vater gab uns seinen Mantel und seinen blauen Hut. Mutter gab uns ihre Tränen und machte uns ein Zuckerbrot. Immer wieder wächst das Gras, wild und hoch und grün, bis die Sensen ohne Hass ihre Kreise ziehen. Immer wieder wächst das Gras, klammert all die Wunden zu, manchmal stark und manchmal blass, so wie ich und du. Als wir endlich alt genug waren, stopften wir sie in den Schrank, die allzu oft gepflegten Flügel, und Gott sagte, Gott sei Dank. Und nachts macht diese Stadt über uns die Loken dicht, und wer den Kopf zu weit oben hat, der findet seine Ruhe nicht. Immer wieder wächst das Gras, wild und hoch und grün, bis die Sensen ohne Hass ihre Kreise ziehen. Immer wieder wächst das Gras, klammert all die Wunden zu, manchmal stark und manchmal blass, so wie ich und du. And now I'm going to translate some of the song. Jetzt werde ich anfangen mit dem Übersetzen. Going back to the top here, vom Anfang an haben wir, when we were finally big enough, we took our shoes. The painted door of the kids' room fell shut behind us. Dad gave us his coat and his blue hat. Mother gave us her tears and baked a pound cake for us. This is a loose translation. Zuckerbrot is like a sweet bread. And the grass keeps on growing, grows on, wild and tall and green, until the scythes, without spite or hate, close their circles. And the grass grows on, closes all wounds, sometimes strong and sometimes pale, just like you and I. And when we were finally old enough, we shoved our wings and shoved into the closet our wings, which were all too often mended. And God said, "Thank God." And at night, the city closes its hatches above us tightly, and whoever's head is sticking up too far finds no peace. Yeah, it's interesting. I could take a second to interpret some of this. Es ist also starke Nostalgie, very strong nostalgia here. He's thinking about his parents, denkt seine Eltern, and with fondness. Talking here about growing up. So these are common themes in Gundermann's texts and his songs. The door closing behind him in his childhood, and he's leaving off. He and his siblings, presumably, leave the house with their coat and hat and their shoes, and mother's crying. So. And he talks about how the grass keeps growing. So youth keeps growing up and more grass comes behind it. Wild and tall and green, so this color of youthfulness and inexperience. And the sides, which are associated with death, die Tod, the character of death, the Grim Reaper in English-speaking culture. And this scythe cuts down the grass, closing its circles. It's kind of a curved shape, and talking about closing that circle of the scythe, cutting down the grass. And it closes all wounds, and sometimes tough or strong, and sometimes pale. So this paleness contrasts with the green color of youth. So you get this sense of the springtime with the green grass growing, and then the fall or the harvest towards the end of life when the grass is cut down in this endless cycle, closing the circle. So anyway, then the second verse, he talks about when we were old enough finally, as if this was something that you would be waiting for. Kids never want to grow up, right? And the wings, which were repaired or mended all too often. So, you think about birds getting shot at and maybe a bullet hits your wing, but you're not dead yet, and you just keep on surviving. I don't know. This is poetry here. Es ist ein Gedicht und ich interpretiere das so, wie ich es verstehe. I'm just interpreting it as I could understand it. And God says, thank God. This is like self-referential. It's like God is beyond human understanding, and God is also, a selfish God in a way, because he wants to be worshipped, right? So here it's like God says, thank God. And we're just powerless to have any influence in this world. But here he's talking about, the world or the city will cut off your head if you're not too careful. Here he's using the word den Kopf, which in standard German would be den Kopf. That should be yellow because that's accusative case. I don't know if I can change that without a big stink, so I'll just stop right there, but that's accusative. And basically what we're seeing is that the head will be cut off if you don't pipe down. If you don't stick your head down, you're going to lose your head in the big wide world. So I talked about closing the hatch. Think about like a submarine. If you don't stick your head back under and lay low, you're going to lose your life. You're going to be struck down, and you'll never find peace. So that's kind of my poetic interpretation of it. It's a bit tough to interpret part of this song, so feel free to leave me a commentary about how you understand it as a native German speaker or as a student of German. But yeah, so here I won't take too much more time to just explain again that in blue I had the nominative case, so the subject of the sentence, or in this first sentence, we've got the verb to be in the past tense. When we were finally old enough, the adjective old is also declined as a nominative. Nahmen, unsere Schuhe. We see here that Nahmen is in the second position. When you think about als wir endlich groß genug waren is like an adverbial phrase, and so then that's position 1 in the sentence. Nahmen wird in die zweite Stelle expressed. It'll be expressed in the second position. Anyway, we took our shoes. Our shoes is the accusative. It's the direct object. Die bemalte Kinderzimmertür fiel hinter uns zu. So what's in blue there is the... I'm going to put some commas in here and apostrophes and periods. So die Schuhe is the plural of Schuh, but here they've cut it down to just Schuh so that it rhymes with fiel hinter uns zu. Die bemalte Kinderzimmertür is the subject of the second sentence, so it fell closed behind him. Dad gave us his coat, so he gave to us. That's a dative or an indirect object. And then he gave his coat, so that's in the accusative. You can tell because it's got this en ending. It's a masculine noun, der Mantel, so that would change to seinen Mantel or den Mantel. And then we get the same thing here. He also gave us his hat, his blue hat. So we see these accusative adjective endings that are added on to the word sein or blau. And so that's kind of how this proceeds. I won't take time to go over every single sentence, but try to sing this to yourself. Sing it slower. Immer wieder wächst das Gras, wild und hoch und grün, bis die Sensen ohne Hass ihre Kreise ziehen. So there's some interesting things here. Of course, the verbs with en get cut down to just in the dialect, in most dialects of German, especially when you have to make it rhyme. You can say ziehen instead of ziehen, and then that changes the number of syllables and everything for the poetry. I'll just point out there are other phrases here, like I could have highlighted this in yellow, ohne Hass, because ohne is a preposition that's always followed by accusative, but I focused more on the direct objects and the indirect objects rather than the object of a preposition or prepositional phrases, which ultimately are adverbial in this poem. So I hope I'm not talking over your head, but these are things that interest me, and I assume if you're watching this channel, you're also interested in German, and German grammar has a lot to talk about, right? So when we were finally old enough, wenn wir endlich alt genug waren, stopften wir sie in den Schrank. We stuffed them into the closet. What are them? When it says stuffed them, sie, it refers to it right here, die allzu oft geflickten Flügel. That should actually be yellow as well. So this is accusative. We stuffed our wings into the old closet. This in den Schrank should be highlighted in yellow technically because it's an adverbial, it's a prepositional phrase, but it is adverbial in that it tells us where or wohin, where these wings were stuffed into the closet, in den Schrank. That would be yellow for accusative, and die allzu oft geflickten Flügel is just, things are a little bit out of order here because it is a poem. So basically we stuffed these wings into the closet, and these wings were all too often mended. So that's just, it's a nominative, it's a nominal phrase, it's a noun phrase that is in the accusative case. You can tell because the ending here, well, yeah, this ending would be there either way because it follows a direct, a definite article. Anyhow, I'm kind of losing you here, I'm sure, by this point, but check it out, Gundi, Gundermann. He's got amazing songs. If you've watched my channel, you know I'm a big fan. Ich bin ein großer Fan von Gundi und von euch auch. Mach's gut, have a good one, and wir sehen uns das nächste Mal. Bitte schön ein Like und subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up und tschüss, bis bald und mach's gut. Danke. Bye.